Hey, what's up guys? It's Corey here with Dapper Dollars, and today we're going to talk about the state of Hyliion and whether I'm buying or selling. You ready? Let's get started. So this channel is all about using print-on-demand platforms like merch, Etsy, Redbubble, and things like that to grow our passive income and use this income to invest in things like real estate, stock markets, and the stock market and things like that to increase our financial freedom for ourselves and our families. If that sounds like something you're interested in, like and subscribe, and let's get started. So, Hyliion has taken quite a dive. I think I'm down $600 in this position, which means I think about 15% I'm down 15% as a whole. I think I've got around maybe $2,500 invested in this stock, and it's maybe about 50% of my portfolio. So it's definitely taken down the overall status of my portfolio just with the last few months. So let's talk about why Hyliion has gone down so much, the factors that have caused this, and whether or not I'm going to continue to buy or bail like everyone else. So let's start with the fact that Hyliion let out the notice of the issue of public warrants, which means that people are able to buy Hyliion at a lower price because it is something that Hyliion has done to raise capital. This is not exactly a great thing for us Hyliion investors in the short term because that means the stock price is diluted and goes down. So that's not great for us. It is great for the people who were able to buy shares of Hyliion with these public warrants at a lower price because they got into Hyliion, which is a great company, and they got in at a much lower cost than anyone else. You know, this stock went up to maybe $50 at the height of the acquisition, and now we're down into the low teens, like mid to low teens. So it's not exactly a fun place to be. But the people who purchased those public warrants, they were able to definitely have a great impact, great investment opportunity. So what does this mean for us? Like I said, it means the share price has gone down because they were able to buy shares for lower, or increase the amount of shares, so obviously the share price goes down. People sell off because the share price goes down, and now the overall situation is not that great, at least if you're looking at the stock value of Hyliion. Now let's move on to the next thing. It is the end of the year, and this has been a great year for a lot of people, which means they have a whole lot of stock income on their taxes. But that means, or what some people do who are tax interested, or like they're interested in paying as little taxes as possible, is that they sell off stocks that they have taken a loss on to offset the gains they had on other stocks. So a lot of people are in a situation where they are down on Hyliion, which means they have lost money on Hyliion. So this means that they can now just sell the shares at a loss, write it off against their taxes, and they're great. They can now move on. But what does that mean for the rest of us? That means that a lot of us are kind of stuck holding the bag if we actually want to stay invested in Hyliion, because that means that the price continues to go down. So the people who sold their interest in Hyliion based off of tax purposes didn't exactly do us a favor, but I'm sure that they feel like they made the wise decision. But this does give credence to the thought, and this is not a thought. And let me stop right here and preface all of this, and I guess post all of this, with the fact that I am not a financial investor. I am a guy on YouTube. You should not listen to me for professional financial advice. You should seek out a professional for this kind of financial advice before you make any decisions. This is just my opinion of Hyliion, and everything that I've said on this video and will say is not guaranteed. It is just my opinion because I am not a financial advisor. Anyway, moving forward, Hyliion stock price went down a little bit more just because of the people who sold off the shares of Hyliion because of tax purposes. This is smart for them, but again, we're kind of holding the bag with a lower share price. But this is an opportunity to look into the future a little bit and see that these people were shareholders of Hyliion in 2020. They will likely buy back into Hyliion in 2021 because guess what? Hyliion will now be at a lower share price. And if they still believe in Hyliion, then it is very likely that they will buy back in 2021. Again, this is not guaranteed. This is just my thought on this situation. So with all of this, the share price of Hyliion is somewhere in the mid to low teens right now. And it is not a very good situation. The only thing that has given Hyliion any sort of hope is the fact that I think Barclays gave them a bull rating on the 16th, so that's good, I guess. The target price that they gave them was $20, so if you're anyone who has actually been invested in Hyliion for a while, that is not exactly a great thing to hear, because most of us bought in around the $30 mark, and if you were unfortunate enough to buy in at the height of the hype around Hyliion, you bought in around $60. So does not seem like a great situation for you in the short term. But let's answer the question, am I buying or selling Hyliion? I am buying. I bought this morning on the 16th. I put another $204 into this stock, and I am glad that I did. And it went down a little bit in the short term, but I am still bullish on Hyliion because the fundamentals have not changed. Let's look back at everything that we talked about in this video. They sold public warrants. This means also that they raised cash. Yes, the share price went down, but Hyliion raised cash. That means that they now have cash on hand to do research and to make it through any potentially negative situations where they might not be able to make it through fiscally. So the public warrants, it looks bad in the short term. Long term though, Hyliion has cash on hand and they're able to move forward more securely. So it's great for the Hyliion company long term. The tax or selling of shares because of tax season. This again is a short-term pain. Does not affect Hyliion at all fundamentally. It is nothing that says anything about their business. It's just the fact that a lot of people, and I don't know this is a fact, but it seems very reasonable to think that a lot of people have sold off of Hyliion because they need to have something to write off on their taxes. So we'll see in January if people start to buy back into Hyliion. But again, this is not a fundamental change in the company. This is nothing about the company that has changed. It's just the thought that maybe there are people out there trying to get some write-offs for their taxes. So none of this has actually affected what Hyliion is or what Hyliion is doing. So I'm still very bullish on the company, and I'm still very interested to see where they go. The Hypertruck ERX is also coming out in 2021. They are set to have production and delivery in place for the Hypertruck ERX drivetrain, and that is going to be an incredible thing for Hyliion. It is going to really boost the future of the company. And speaking of the future of the company, one thing to look out for the future of 2021, 2022 are follow-on orders. This is going to be a great bellwether for Hyliion to see if the people that they've sold their trucks to, the drivetrains and the trucks to, are actually going to do follow-on orders. Like CAT, I forget, Canadian Automotive Transportation or something, had a pretty big order. That initial order is going to be very important to look for follow-on orders for, because that is going to be a bellwether for whether or not Hyliion is going to be successful in the future. And if Hyliion has multiple follow-on orders, then this is going to be, follow-on orders are basically recurring customers. So someone who has bought from Hyliion once, maybe they bought 5 trucks, and then now they're coming back to buy 25. This shows that Hyliion has proven, if the follow-on orders happen and they buy more from Hyliion, it proves that Hyliion saved them money, they were effective, and they were popular with the people, and they got the job done. So this is a great thing for Hyliion if follow-on orders come. But again, we don't know this for sure. So that's something to look for in 2021. I'm very hopeful that it will happen. But again, all of this is speculation because, you know, the stock market. Anyway, this is my bullish thesis on Hyliion, and I am still invested. I am still buying more. And even with Barclays' price target of $20, I don't think that that is going to be the end for Hyliion. I think that once Hyliion gets past all of this stuff in the beginning, once they get a PR team in place who can actually keep people informed of what's going on in the company, and there's not all this speculation going around and ghost writers coming out and giving false information on the company and then retracting those statements completely, that would really help. If they could just get a decent PR team to actually do the work for Hyliion to let investors know what's happening and things like that, that'd be an incredible thing to happen in 2021 as well. But right now, we know Hyliion has cash on hand from the warrants. We know that nothing has fundamentally changed. And we know that Hyliion is cheaper now. So I'm going to continue to buy. I hope that this helps. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Again, consult a financial professional before you make any decisions regarding your money, because it is your money. Anyway, that's my opinion. I hope this helps. I hope you're having a great week. And remember, guys, someone is going to do something amazing every day. Why not you? See ya.